Good morning on this beautiful morning. Welcome to Mainline Unitarian Church. My name is Kathy Cortez, and I am a member of the Board of Trustees. We are so glad you are here this morning, whether here in person or online. A special welcome if you're here for the first time. This morning, we celebrate a unique UU tradition, flower communion. If you've brought flowers and you haven't brought them up yet, you can bring them up and lay them down on the table if you can't find room in a vase. But you can just stick them in a vase. It's gonna make the place smell fabulous. The flower communion was initiated by Reverend Norbert Čapek, the Unitarian minister who founded the Unitarian Church of Prague. At one time, the Prague Church was the largest Unitarian church in the world. Reverend Čapek was killed in Dachau during World War II for crimes against the state. But this tradition has kept alive his memory and the values that he championed. I like to think of the flower communion as an embodiment of our MLUC community. We bring a flower to combine with other flowers and create these amazing bouquets. And then we each take away a flower to bring home. Each of us, like each flower, has a unique beauty. And when we combine our flowers with the flowers of everyone else, we create the beautiful bouquet that is this community. It reminds us that together we sustain our caring community by giving and receiving. If you're here for the first time or the 100th time, we hope you will join us after the service for coffee and tea and conversation. Leading our service today is our senior minister, Reverend John Morehouse. The music today is brought to you by the MLUC House Band featuring the Brown and Zink families. Our worship associate is Deborah McKnight. We are all supported by the skillful audiovisual team. They make it possible to expand this community beyond these walls to reach you wherever you are. MLUC is a very busy place on Sundays, particularly this Sunday. Please check the order of service for what's happening, the back of the order of service, for what's happening today and throughout the week. Please take a look at I want to highlight our annual meeting that takes place on June 14th following the service. Please mark your calendars. The annual meeting is you, and so you need to be here. We will elect Board of Trustee members, vote on the budget, vote to affirm the right relations covenant that we worked on so hard this year. There will also be a budget discussion Sunday, May 31st at 11:30. For now, take a deep breath. Breathe in all those flower smells. Please silence your electronic devices and join me in affirming our mission statement. Together, we transform lives through love, service, and our welcoming faith.
Don't you know it's darkest before the dawn? And this thought keeps me moving on. If we would heed these early mornings, the time is now. Bright early morning. If we would heed
Our chalice lighting today is called Open to Possibility by Irene Glass. We kindle light, and with it, possibility that we are more than the sum of our parts, that the world is more than a problem to solve, that illumination is more than a simple flame. We light the chalice and open to possibility. Please stand as you can in body or spirit to sing hymn number 76 for the flowers that bloom at our feet.
Why? 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 Why is a powerful question. Why is how you learn about the world. You can learn a lot by someone by how they answer the question why, whether they're open and honest and excited to tell you, or whether they're tense and nervous and evasive, right? You want a serious answer when you ask the question why. What you don't want is, because I said so, right? You know that today is Flower Communion. This is a story about why someone started that ritual. Norbert Čapek asked this question, why, a lot. As a boy, he was raised Catholic in what is now Czechoslovakia. He was even an altar boy, someone who helped the priest with the service. But as an early age, he was asking why. And some of the priests didn't like the questions that he was asking. They thought he was a pest, a rabble-rouser who was being disruptive. And he didn't like the answers he got when he asked why. So Norbert Čapek tried being a Baptist, and he was for a while. He was even a minister for a while, but he, over time, started having doubts that his values and the Baptist values weren't the same. He moved to America to get his PhD and married a librarian. We love librarians. She was also from Czechoslovakia, Maya, and they had 3 kids. And it was Maya who asked Norbert, why? Why are you still a Baptist when you don't believe the same things they believe? And so Norbert and Maya asked their children, encouraged their children to try new churches. So they went around New Jersey where they lived, and the kids were trying out the churches, kind of like Crossing Paths, right? The program we have where we try out different faiths. Yeah. It was their children who found a Unitarian church in New Jersey. The family all visited the church together, and they found, quote, not only clear heads, but warm hearts too. So they decided, Norbert and Maya and their family decided to go back to Czechoslovakia and start Czechoslovakia's first Unitarian church. As Kathy said, it became the most popular Unitarian church in the world. And it was there that Norbert created the Flower Communion. Now, I was raised Catholic like Norbert. I was also an altar boy, and I remember my first communion. That's a big deal to Catholics, right? In every Mass, every Sunday, communion happens in the middle of the service. Everyone lines up, goes down the middle, and they take a bite. They eat a small disc that the priest has just blessed. These communion wafers are believed to be the body of Jesus. This isn't like a metaphor or something symbolizing something. The wafers are supposed to literally be the body of Jesus, the Son of God who died 2,000 years ago. Now, I used to think this was malarkey, but now I know more about science and know that the atoms of a man who lived 2,000 years ago might still be with us, right? They might well have been in the communion wafers that I ate as a boy or in the Happy Meal I had afterwards. I always liked communion. A Catholic service can be really long, and it's mostly just listening to people talk, sometimes in Latin. And the Catholic church I grew up in, didn't have the great music we have here. So I liked communion. It was a chance to get up, to see everybody walk together, and it was something we did with our whole bodies, not just our ears. And even though the wafers tasted kind of like paper, it was still a small snack. Here's the thing about communion, though. You have to be old enough, and you have to be a true believer to participate. Those of you that have been to a Catholic church, you know that you're not welcome to participate in communion. And Norbert wanted a ritual like the one he had as a child, but a ritual for everyone. So he came up with the flower communion, the one we do today. And he liked the idea that you would bring up one flower and take home a different one. That would make us feel all together in this, right? That my concerns are your concerns, are his concerns, are their concerns, are her concerns, are all of our concerns. Now the story takes kind of a dark turn. Norbert and Maya were both Unitarian ministers when the Nazis took power in nearby Germany, and the Nazis were always listening for answers they didn't like. Norbert and Maya still had the same messages that they had, but they were quieter. That wasn't what got Norbert in trouble. It was that he was listening to a radio broadcast from England. Now, why couldn't he listen to a radio broadcast from England? Because the Nazis said so. Norbert and his daughter Zora were captured and killed by the Nazis. Maya was safe back in America. And so she brought that flower communion to her new church in Massachusetts. And today, 100 years after he started it, it is now the most popular UU ritual in the world. Now, Norbert's atoms might still be in the air with us today, but his ritual still with us. So that's why we bring the flowers, why we share them together, why it's better that we all don't think alike, why we love the question, why?
That's so great. Each month, we donate half of our collection to a worthy organization in need. The recipient of MLUC's Offering Outreach for May is Safe Harbor of Chester County, a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide emergency housing, food, and access to support services in a structured environment for unhoused men and women in Chester County. We have a brief video describing their work.
Take chicken as well. Yep, thank you. I was a troubled teen, so that left my mom by herself, and I had to learn a lot, you know. After being in institutions and stuff like that, it was very hard for me to get back on my feet. Yeah, I was homeless for a while, and I ended up looking for resources through my probation, and they referred me to here, to Safe Harbor. It's helped me in countless ways. Other than a roof over my head for me and my mom, they provide meals for us, they take care of us. They've encouraged me to stay employed. I got a job. I can't ask for nothing better than, than this. I love you, Ma.
I love you. Safe Harbor of Chester County is a homeless shelter in Westchester, Pennsylvania. We provide services to about 150 individuals each year who stay with us for anywhere from 3 to 6 months.
Chicken or ham today?
Ham.
We provide 3 meals a day, so 120 meals a day.
Have a good day.
Yeah, have a good day.
And we also provide them with a variety of therapeutic case management, intensive housing case management, and programming and services so that they can become housed and stay housed.
So we're making some chicken and gravy with the pinto beans.
It's far more than just offering temporary shelter. They really do provide a tailored approach and provide resources, particularly in the areas of mental health, job training, and life skill development.
Over the last couple of years, the length of stay for residents has extended, but the success rate of them not having to come back and need additional services in the future is really where we're seeing those successes.
And here's the chicken.
I think the more attention we have on it, the more we can make the community aware of the challenges of homelessness in Chester County.
The organization aligns with UU principles supporting the worth and dignity of all people. To make a cashless donation, whether watching remotely or from here in the sanctuary, please follow the instructions on the screen or on the inside page of the order of service. The offering will now be gratefully received. Will the ushers please come forward?
So you speak to me of sadness and the coming of the winter. Fear that is within you now that seems to never end, and the dreams that have escaped you and the hopes that you've forgotten. You tell me that you need me now, you want to be my friend, and you wonder where we're going.
At this time in the service, it is our custom to share personal joys, sorrows, and concerns to be acknowledged by our loving community. Together, we respond to each joy or sorrow by lighting a candle and saying, "We hold you in our hearts." Dana Wiley asked us to join her in wishing Mark Carpenter a happy birthday. Mike turns 90 today. For Mike and his family, we hold you in our hearts. And let us light one more candle for those of us with joys or sorrows too deep to say out loud at this time. We hold you in our hearts.
You know, it's good to see you all this morning. Kathy Cordes, our trustee, was telling me before the service we may have made it too comfortable out there for you, that you don't want to come in to actually enjoy the service. So we're glad you finally did join us, and the place is full, and I love that. And I want to thank the Zinks and the Brown family for singing with us today, playing music. The Brinks, I think you want to be called. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. And Debbie, thank you as always, as a worship associate. And wow, Bill, we have to talk. That was great. I knew more. You knew more about Norpa Chopik than I did. So the flower communion is this annual tradition of ours to bring forth flowers, the flowers of our lives, and then to share them with other people. In a minute here, I'm going to ask you to, if you haven't already brought your flowers forward, you can do that now while we sing a hymn. But let me say a little bit about this particular ritual of ours. The format is one that we hope will not alienate people, but invite them in. The traditional communion service, as Bill was telling you, with bread and wine, is sometimes difficult for people in our congregation, particularly if that had harmful memories. So we and Norpa Chopik turned to the countryside. The elements of the communion, of the Creator's love was all around them, and he created this simple service. It's been happening every year since it was instituted. So now I'm going to invite you to bring the flowers forward, if you have not already, as we sing a hymn, which I think is number, is there a number? There's no number. You know what? You're all going to follow it. You can stay seated. Thank you.
In the heart of a seed buried deep, so deep, a dear little plant lay fast asleep. In the heart of a seed buried deep, so deep, a dear little plant lay fast asleep. Wake, said the sunshine, and creep to the light. Wake, said the voice of the raindrop bright. The little plant heard, and it rose to see what the wonderful outside world might be. In the heart of a seed buried deep, so deep, a dear little plant lay fast asleep. In the heart of a seed buried deep, so deep, a dear little plant lay fast asleep. Wake, said the sunshine, and creep to the light. Wake, said the voice of the raindrop bright. The little plant heard, and it rose to see what a wonderful outside world. One more time. Heart of a seed buried deep, so deep, a dear little plant lay fast asleep. In the heart of a seed buried deep, so deep, a dear little plant lay fast asleep. Wake, said the sunshine, and creep to the light. Wake, said the voice of the raindrop bright. The little plant heard, and it rose to see what the wonderful outside world might be.
As we bless the flowers before us, I want us to consider the fact that, of course, our earth is warming. This is not the first time it's warmed, and it probably won't be the last. But by the year 2050, it may be 10 degrees warmer than it is even now. And the seas will likely have risen, depending on where you are, by up to a foot. Most of the beaches in Southern California will be covered, and most of Florida will be underwater. Bangladesh and the islands of the Pacific will largely disappear. The polar ecosystems that have balanced our temperature may result in losing thousands more species of plants and animals. And where will have all the flowers gone then? When babies gaze up at the sky or in a room up at the ceiling, I often wonder what they're thinking. I am of the opinion that they see the movement of light, perhaps from where they came from, and perhaps remembering the beauty of where they once were, in that wonderful space between energy and embodiment. I've seen this in the newborn, and I've seen it in the dying. If we consider the fact that this human body is made of flesh and bone and mostly water, what holds it together then, what vibrates within us, is an energy. And that energy, that formed energy, is what vibrates all that we see in existence today. Our planet, of which we're a part, and everything upon it. So what we really have on this flower communion is the question of energy itself. You and me and these flowers, all of them are part of the energy that we need in order to stay alive. If we transform that mandate, how will it change the way we look at our world? How does the light that is so bright going to sustain life on this planet? And how are the flowers that are here now going to survive? I believe that tending the gardens of our lives and of the places we live, of this very planet, are driven not by anger and righteousness, but by compassion and care. Because that's what it comes down to. It doesn't come down to being angry about something. It comes down to being caring about something. And that's the heart of any religion at its best in our world. My colleague Tess Baumberger wrote, as we encounter others in our community, they are exploring paths similar to our own. They listen to our stories, and we should listen to theirs, and that way we become more of the garden that we were always meant to be, a garden of souls. If we have any theological position beyond the covenant and love of our community, I believe it's the belief in the interconnected web of all existence. All life, and perhaps more than life, is bound together by this energy which we see inside these flowers. This energy of the universe is continuous. It's not one thing to the next. Even when something dies, the energy goes on. And so our tending then of the planet, our tending of our lives, our tending of the difficulty we're facing right now, this is more than a political question, friends. This is really a spiritual question. How are you living your life so that you are creating the best amount of care and compassion that is possible? Leave aside all the heartache. How is it that we care for one another? And this includes not only ourselves and our immediate neighbors, but all those who are in marginalized communities. And the list is long. Gene Ramsbottom wanted me to tell you that this is the 78th anniversary of Nakba. This is the recognition of the catastrophe, and that's what it means in Arabic, of the mass displacement and dispossession of Palestinian people. But it is one example of many examples that really takes more care and compassion, as well as the work that we're already doing. I think if we look at something even more elemental, we will find out that what we're really made of is humility. Thinking of this made me think of the storybook Yertle the Turtle. Y'all remember Yertle the Turtle? And if our kids don't know Yertle the Turtle, there's something missing in their theological education. You want to pull that out. In the book, of course, yep, there he is. In the book, Yertle is the king of the turtles. And he wants to be the king of more, always more. And he stood on top of an ever greater stack of turtles going all the way up into the sky. He was the king of more and more. And he said, I'm the king of the trees. He said, I'm the king of the birds and the bees. I'm the king of the butterflies, king of the air. Me. I'm Yertle the Turtle, marvelous me. Does it sound like anybody we know? And of course, pride goeth before the fall. And the higher and higher Yertle the turtle goes so that he can be king of the sky and the moon and the sun. And then one little turtle at the bottom of the pack, one little turtle named Mac, burps. And Yertle the turtle falls into the mud where he is the king of nothing at all. You see then, when we want more and more and more, we seem to make ourselves rulers of the earth. But what if we saw ourselves actually part of the earth, not tending the garden, but being the garden? You know that word human being comes from the same root as humus and humility and what's mud but wet humus? Maybe we're all the same stuff. And if we're just one form of energy, then we're no different than the planet we're living on. Being part of the earth, as Yeats once said, and you'll see the sublime in all that you see. Mother Teresa is said to have begun each of her days in a little rose garden, small, no more than 5 feet by 5 feet, where she could be reminded of the Garden of Eden within every one of us. I like to think of Mother Earth, as she is a mother, as a single mom. And like all single moms, she needs help. And we're all her kids, so we should be helping. And we should be moving on from the duality of this or that, or even this theology or that theology, and understanding ourselves as becoming part of one. The great truth is this: our greatest power lies not in our being, but in our becoming. It's a journey without end. Becoming means seeing this earth as something we live upon and that is part of us as well. This, I think, is our theology. At the burning bush, God commanded Moses to remove thy sandals from thy feet, for the place on which you stand is holy ground. I would say, remove your sandals from your feet and dance upon the earth, because that's also holy. Annie Dillard, one of my spiritual heroes, once wrote, "We are here to abet creation and to witness to it, to notice each other's beautiful face and the complex nature of creation so that we need not play to an empty house. We are the house, and it's far from empty. So let's get going." We will now have our communion of flowers, and I will invite you after the blessing to come down the center aisle and then go out the side aisles. And it should work. Here's the blessing by Norbert Joppik. Children of the earth and sky, brought together in bodies of spirit, we are nurtured and sustained and given life from above and below. When we turn from self and seek to be aware, we see in all people and in all things the blossom and the love of birdsong and sky. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask your blessing upon these messengers of fellowship and love, these beautiful flowers. And we remind us amid the diversities of knowledge and gifts that we desire one in affection and devotion to the holy will. And may we be reminded of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. There are so many boundaries around us, so many limitations. But let this flower communion be the imagination that takes that line and moves it forward. As you come forward, pick a flower different than the one you brought. And in this flower, note its shape and its size and its smell. See how it represents not just what you are, but imagine what it brought to the person who brought it here. With this kindest touch, we now partake in our flower communion. As the band plays, please come forward.
Rolling by. love is not The oak and
Yeah. I want you to know that it's an act of faith for me. I walked in today and set this up with no flowers that I brought, and no one else brought flowers. And I looked at those empty vases and I said, communion of UUs, come through. And look, there's still flowers there after a full house. That's wonderful. We're going to sing a closing hymn. This is number 1068. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing Rising Green. Gregory of Nicaea said in 335 that you alone are unutterable. From the time you were created, all things that can be spoken of, you alone perhaps are unknowable. From the time you created all things that be known, you, of all things, the green and the love, cry out about you, those of which you speak and those which can, cry with compassion and love and beauty, and say, here we are. Here we are. Amen. Please be seated for the postlude.